If you as a parent want to know more about the mechanisms for understanding your child, then this video is for you. Now, you don't really need to know these mechanisms in order to do it. A lot of this happens naturally. But if you as a parent have questions about whether you're getting it right, whether experiences you had as a child may have got in the way of you being able to really connect with and really understand your child, then again this video is for you. I want to talk about understanding and feeling understood. This wonderful image on the wall beside me is by Madeline Everett, a young artist. And in it she has the adult parent shining the illuminating beam, as we call it in the Lighthouse program, on the child. That is, the adult is approaching the child with an open mind, curious and interested, and wanting to know what the child may be feeling, may be thinking at this moment in time. This is what we're going to explore in greater detail. I'm going to tell you a couple of short, true stories by way of illustration. My brother, Joe, when he and his wife Mary first bought a house together when they were married, it was a house on an estate where you had to, you got the shell of a building and you had to go in and put the radiators and all the taps and everything else in yourself. Essentially you had to fit the house out. He and his friend who bought the house next door would spend every weekend, like many others on the estate, doing the house up before they could move in. One night, as Joe was clocking off to go home, his friend, Jimmy, said, "I'm just going to sleep on the floor tonight. I'll see you in the morning. There's no point going home and back again in the morning, so I'm just going to stay here." Unfortunately for Jimmy, that night a burglar was hitting most of the houses on the road and ransacking them, emptying them of the radiators, the tools, whatever they could find. So Jimmy was lying asleep and he woke up to find the door of the bedroom opened by this burglar, and this guy just appears. You can imagine Jimmy got an awful fright, sat up and screamed. Now the burglar, who'd, as I said, had been hitting quite a number of houses and they were all empty, he got quite a shock too. And he screamed. And the two of them screamed at each other for a full 30 seconds or so. And then the burglar turned and ran. Why am I telling this story? Well, this is an example of accurate mirroring. Jimmy feels panic and fear, and his burglar also feels panic and fear, and they both scream fear at each other. You could say they perfectly understood each other. They probably had no doubt about what was in each other's mind, fear. But neither was any use to the other. They were both alone in their fears, while in the presence of someone mirroring fear back to them. Okay? These few slides will try to convey something of this. One person panics, the other panics, and it gets filled with panic, the room fills with panic. Now, marked mirroring is something different. And I'm going to illustrate that again with a story. I don't know if you'll believe the story, because it's really quite a strange one, but it's true. In Russia, there was a knock at the door. This guy, Lev was his name, answers the door and the police are there. And the police say, "Is this your mobile phone?" And he says, "Yes, I think I mislaid it somewhere." They said, "No, actually we found it in the possession of a burglar when we raided his house." And they showed him a picture of the burglar and said, "Have you seen this man?" And he said, "Oh," he said, "I dreamt about him last week. He appeared to me in a dream." Now what had happened was, a bit like Jimmy in the previous story, this guy, Gleb, had been asleep. And the burglar, breaking into his house, stealing stuff, opens the bedroom door, Gleb wakes up, but the burglar, instead of panicking, says to Gleb, "It's okay, don't be frightened. It's a dream, go back to sleep." He saw Gleb's fear, he marked it as Gleb's, "You're feeling frightened, don't worry, but it's okay, please go back to sleep. I'm just a dream." And Gleb dutifully went back to sleep, feeling soothed by the burglar. That's marked mirroring. The burglar saw Gleb's fear and soothed it by representing it back, mirroring it back to Gleb and saying, "This is your fear, but I'm okay, I'm not too frightened by it, and I can reassure you." Now, obviously, that's good marked mirroring, but it's misused for the purpose of getting someone back to sleep in order to steal their phone. So, but nonetheless, it's marked mirroring. 2 points about that. One is, notice that Gleb was reassured and fell back asleep, so it contained and comforted him. And this is what we want to offer our children when they're misunderstood. And notice also that in this example, fundamentally someone who shouldn't be trusted actually used this marked mirroring, used this way of mentalizing and understanding someone to his advantage and exploiting the other. Okay. So, let's say you and I are having a conversation. Now, I have an experience of myself and I see myself in a particular way and I'm trying to convey that to you. And let's say you do a good job of representing that back to me, saying, "Jerry, is this, have I got this right? Is this how I see you? Is this seeing you accurately?" And I say, "Yeah, no, that's pretty much how I'm feeling. You've got that right." I would say that in that moment I feel seen by you. I feel that you see me clearly. I feel that you understand me right at this moment. There is a match between how I see myself and how I see you seeing me. And this leads me to feel that I can trust you. I trust that you see me clearly. So maybe the next thing that you tell me, I can trust also. And that might be something important about the world outside. If I've asked you for directions, it might be about where to go to be safe. But because I feel understood by you, I am now more likely to trust in what you have to teach me. So in the next video, which is called How I Know Who I Am, we're going to now just look at the same processes again, mirroring and marked mirroring, but using a parent and child example.